You're a billion kilometers from Earth. Saturn hangs outside the window, pale gold, ringed, unreal. The silence is total. No mission control chatter. No quick link home. Just you, a metal shell, and a planet that doesn't care you came. Getting here was hard. Getting back is what physics may not allow. And no one is coming to save you. Because Saturn doesn't just sit far away. It sits far enough that every mistake lasts longer, every failure is harder to fix, and every kilogram you bring creates a new problem you didn't have before. Most people think a Saturn mission is a one-way trip because it's distant. That's true the way the ocean is wet. It's the obvious part, not the important part. The important part is what distance does to everything else. Mars is about 7 months away. Saturn is about 7 years. That's not a difference in degree. It's a difference in kind. The difference between crossing a river and crossing an ocean. Both are water. Only one forgives mistakes. Start with the simplest limitation, the speed of light. From Saturn, messages don't reach Earth. They travel for over an hour, sometimes 90 minutes. So if you tell mission control, we have a problem, you're not starting a conversation. You're starting a delay. By the time Earth hears you, the situation has evolved. By the time their answer returns, it may be too late. That delay turns emergencies into lonely math. You can't outsource decisions. You can't wait for permission. Whatever breaks out there, you own it. But communication delay isn't what makes Saturn a trap. It's just the first door that closes behind you. The next door is time. With the technology we actually fly, a trip to Saturn takes years. Not because engineers enjoy slow missions, but because faster missions demand more energy, energy demands mass, and mass demands even more energy. It's a loop that gets ugly fast. Robots have taken around 7 years to reach Saturn. A crewed mission doesn't magically become shorter. Humans make it harder, because humans require a functioning world inside a spacecraft for the better part of a decade. Picture that: years of water recycling, years of air processing, years of storing food, years of managing waste, years of exercising just to stay physically capable, years of watching Earth shrink until it's not a planet you feel connected to, but a bright dot that doesn't feel real. And years of silence, not total silence, the kind that's worse. You send a message home, wait 80 minutes, 90. When the reply comes, it doesn't feel like a conversation. It feels like talking to a memory. That's only the outbound trip. Here's the first big twist. The hardest part isn't reaching Saturn. It's arriving in a way that still leaves you with options. In spaceflight, going somewhere is about velocity, not distance. You don't pay for kilometers, you pay for changes in speed. To reach Saturn in a human timeframe, you build tremendous speed. But then comes the part people forget: you must slow down. Otherwise, Saturn isn't a destination, it's a flyby, a beautiful blur you pass on your way to nowhere. A Saturn mission needs energy to accelerate outward, energy to brake on arrival, energy to leave Saturn, and energy to manage arrival at Earth. Speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down. 4 enormous burns, 4 fuel budgets, 4 chances for the math to say no. This is where the real villain appears, not Saturn, the rocket equation. Think of it like packing for a road trip where every bag makes the car heavier, burning more fuel, so you need a bigger tank, which makes the car heavier, which burns more fuel. Except in space, there's no gas station and you can't leave anything behind. Fuel is mass you carry. Every kilogram costs fuel to move. The extra fuel becomes extra mass, which costs more fuel. It snowballs, not linearly, exponentially. That's why deep space missions cheat. They borrow energy from planets using gravity assists, swinging past a world at the right angle to steal momentum. Free speed, paid for with time and precision. Cassini did this. It looped through the inner solar system, stealing boosts from multiple flybys, and still took years. And Cassini was a robot. No food, no sleep, no radiation shelter, no medical emergencies, no crew psychology, no need to come home alive. A human mission stacks mass on mass: life support, water, food, spares, tools, redundancy. Every safety system adds weight. That weight increases fuel. That fuel increases weight. The loop tightens. So let's be generous. Imagine a breakthrough engine cuts travel time dramatically. 2 problems don't care about your engine. Radiation and biology. In deep space, crews face a harsher radiation field for years. It's not one dramatic blast, it's accumulation. Think of standing in light rain, barely noticeable at first. An hour later, you're damp. A day later, soaked. Now stand in that rain for 7 years. There's no umbrella big enough that doesn't slow you down. Shielding helps, but meaningful shielding is extremely heavy, falling right back into the rocket equation. Worse, energetic particles create secondary radiation when striking dense materials, turning add more shielding into a complex trade-off rather than a fix. Then there's microgravity, the quiet problem that rewrites the human body over time. In months, astronauts show muscle loss, bone density changes, cardiovascular issues, and vision effects even with strict exercise. Stretch that to years, and you're asking the body to remain mission-capable in an environment it never evolved for. This matters because a Saturn mission includes the return, and the return demands a body that can handle repairs, emergencies, and stress. Reduced physical margins turn small problems into dangerous ones. People reach for artificial gravity, spin the spacecraft. In theory, elegant. In practice, a massive engineering leap adding structural demands, moving parts, and failure modes that must work for years. It adds mass and complexity, exactly what deep space missions can't afford. Now pause, we've been assuming arriving at Saturn is the goal. Here's the second big twist. Saturn is not a place you can land. No solid surface, a gas giant with atmosphere that becomes denser and hotter as you descend. The pressure becomes crushing long before anything resembles ground. No touchdown, no flag, no surface. Go to Saturn really means orbit the planet, study the rings, explore the moons. Titan with its thick atmosphere, Enceladus with icy plumes hinting at subsurface oceans. Sounds like a workaround until you hit what makes no return feel real. The hardest fuel problem isn't reaching Saturn, it's carrying the ability to leave. Return propellant is mass you accelerate outward for years, protect for years, break into the Saturn system, and only then burn to begin the trip back. Dead mass serving no purpose until you turn around, but you can't leave without it, and you can't carry it for free. The rocket equation tightens like a vice. Eventually, the fuel-to-payload ratio grows beyond anything practical without propulsion technology we don't have. And even perfect vehicles face another enemy. Reliabilities. Over years, seals degrade, valves stick, sensors drift, electronics accumulate damage, filters clog, a small leak becomes routine, routine becomes exhausting, exhaustion becomes mistakes. One mistake at Saturn can be fatal, no resupply, no rescue, no real-time support. You don't call Houston, you speak into a delay, then you act alone. That isolation isn't just technical, it's psychological. Years in confinement, no new faces, no wind, no rain, no open sky, same walls, same crew, same recycled air. Studies in Antarctic research stations show that after extended isolation, people develop irritability, fragmented sleep, and what researchers call the third quarter phenomenon. A crash roughly 3/4 through a mission, when the end feels far and the beginning feels forgotten. People don't snap dramatically, they erode slowly, and erosion in a sealed spacecraft is operationally dangerous. Then there's the wait no equation captures. Imagine day 2197. 6 years in, Earth isn't visible anymore. Your daughter, who was 3 when you left, is 9. She sent a birthday message. You'll hear it in 83 minutes. You can reply, but by the time she hears your voice, she'll already be somewhere else, already someone slightly different than the girl you're talking to. You don't lose your family all at once on a Saturn mission. You lose them in slow motion, one delayed message at a time. That weight doesn't appear in any fuel calculation, but the crew carries it anyway. So where does the dream stand? Saturn is not Mars. Mars is brutally difficult, but close enough that infrastructure, resupply, and rescue are imaginable. Saturn stacks every hard constraint into one mission: extreme distance, extreme duration, extreme energy, communication delays, radiation, biological degradation, psychological erosion, and a return that collapses under its own mass. A crew could orbit one of the most beautiful worlds in the solar system without ever touching it, carrying the cost of return the entire time, depending on systems that must work for years with almost no margin. This isn't pessimism, it's physics. Maybe one day the equation changes. Faster propulsion, better shielding, reliable artificial gravity, hibernation, in-space refueling across the outer solar system. Maybe then Saturn becomes brutally difficult instead of effectively unreachable. But today, Saturn remains what it has always been, a jewel in the night sky, an incredible target for robots, and a destination that doesn't forgive human round trips. Saturn is stunning, and physics is non-negotiable. But there's one moon in the Saturn system that rewrites every assumption. A moon with thick orange skis, where rain falls in slow motion, where rivers and lakes glitter under a hazy sun, made not of water, but of liquid methane. A world where you could stand on solid ground and watch Saturn fill half the sky. Its name is Titan. And that's a story for next time.